Yes, so if you are all ready and set up, you can send a message to the chat or just unmute and let me know, just to make sure everyone's logged in and ready to follow along, like when we start going over examples. Okay, in the meantime, I will also go over the agenda for today. So I know yesterday I went kind of quickly, which I realized in the end, which is why we had some like extra downtime. But today we're going to be, I'll try to go slower, so that's kind of my issue. Sorry. And we'll also look at the revolve tool. I know we looked at that briefly yesterday, looking at how to make assemblies. And then hopefully by the end of it, we'll be able to CAD like a marker, and then also design a simple arm with some parts. So if you have Onshape open, I think it would be really helpful if you could try to follow along for this example. So the first thing that we're going to look at today is actually a sphere. And this is made using the revolve tool. So what kind of shape could you like revolve to make a sphere? Does anyone have an idea? I mean, if you revolve like this card, it's not working. That's so funny. If you revolve a card, it'll make like a kind of cube shape, or cylinder, I guess is a better way to put it. And it would like look like that. So if you wanted to make a sphere, you would revolve a half circle. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's what the revolve tool is there for. So I'll walk through an example and you all can try to follow along. I'm going to make a new port studio and I will rename it since we kind of talked about organization yesterday. I cannot spell. Awesome. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a new sketch and I'll select the front plane. Choosing planes is kind of, it doesn't really matter, but thinking about how you want it to look, you can always move it around. I'm choosing the front plane because I want it to revolve this way. If I wanted to revolve like this way, it would be like on the top plane, but in the end, a sphere is a sphere. But I'll go with the the front plane, sorry. Then I'm using the N key on my keyboard to view normal to the plane, or if you don't want to do that, you can always press like here, right? So I'm going to be using the center point circle, and I will just do 70. It's good. It's fully defined. If I just end here and try to like do revolve, you can see it's going to ask faces and sketch regions to revolve. And then it asks for a revolve axis, but I don't have anything to choose. So that's why it's important when you try to use the revolve tool. I'll press the X for now. You want to make an axis for where like the revolution is supposed to take place. So I'm going to go back into the sketch by double clicking and I'm going to use a line. You can make a normal line or you can just use a construction line. So I know I briefly mentioned this yesterday, but construction lines are lines that are there as guides and they won't actually be like shown in your sketch. Since this is just a guide for us, I'm going to use a construction line, but you don't need to do this. Also set the dimensions to make life easier, and that looks good. I will press the check mark, and great. I'm all ready to revolve my half circle. So I will, press the revolve tool, and oh, actually, that is an issue. So the next thing is like, I trying to revolve to make a sphere, right? But right now I only have, let's see if it'll work. it's giving me an error, and that's because this is a circle. But if I want to revolve a sphere, I only have to use half a circle. So then that becomes another issue. So I guess the point of showing you all this is that to make the sphere, sometimes it's kind of like you have to think about what possible problems you can get. So to make it exactly a half circle, I'm just going to use the line tool and put like an actual line to split it in half. The construction line wouldn't do this because it's just there as a guide, not actually to split the circle in half. This one I want to use to split my circles, so I'm actually going to move this out of the way first so it's easier to see, because I feel like the construction line is getting in the way a bit. There you go, and I'll just start by going with the normal line. Make sure it's in line with like the middle of the circle, and it should be the same, 70. So that's good. Now I'll make a construction line on top. Awesome. So now you can see I can select the half circles, which is what I want to use for this. So I'll go into the revolve tool, which is up here. I can select my face. To select the revolve axis, you should click in this section. Once it's blue, you can press the construction line. And there you go. You have a sphere. So was anyone else able to get a sphere? And if you were, I'd like you to share your screen. If not, you can also share your screen and let me know what difficulties you're having. No spheres. How is your sphere going, Cruz? You were able to get it? Bennett?
I just got done with the line and the circle in the middle,
Nice.
and I'm trying to revolve.
Do you want to share your screen?
Sure.
Awesome, thank you.
It says host has disabled screen sharing.
I can fix that. Can you try again?
Yep.
Awesome, thank you so much. All right, cool. Do you want to try revolving it? So, and then to select, oh, you only need one half of the sphere, right? So you can press like the X by one of the spheres. Here, I can annotate. You can press like one of these X's, and then press where it says revolve axis, and then choose the line down the middle, like this one. Yeah, cool. There you go. Yes, very cool. That's great. Cruz, were you also able to get a sphere? Awesome. Great job, everyone. So that's her first. Oh, yeah, you have a question? Go ahead.
So, how would I be able to make a sphere? I mean, not a sphere, but like an oval.
A 3D like oval shape? Or just a flat oval?
Like an oval shape.
I think this is the way I would do it. I'm going to share my screen. So Let me know if I'm lagging too. I can repeat myself. I think my camera has been acting up. The way I would make an oval shape is that I would start a sketch. So I'm just going to delete what I have right now. And I would make it on the top plane. Pressing the N key. Just here. There you go. And there's actually a tool for an oval, which is an ellipse. So I would kind of start. You can set how big you want each side to be. So say I want it to be like 63 by 35. Cool. Oval shape down. Then I would extrude my oval shape so it makes like an oval cylinder-y thing. I'll say 40 is good. And then I'd use the fillet tool. So this is to kind of curve the edges. I'd use it on both. And I can use this arrow to kind of make it oval. So you can kind of make something that's too big. So I'm getting like an error right now because I'm setting this to a too large like radius, but there you go. Now it's kind of oval. Did that answer your question? Sorry, did that answer your question? Yeah? Awesome. Cool. Were you able to make one? Very cool. Alright. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the revolve tool. Does anyone have any other questions? I guess you could also make an ellipse using the revolve tool, like an oval shape. By instead of making it like a circle, you could make it like a more less circular, I guess is the word for it. We can do that example too, just to get a good feel for the revolve tool. So I'll just delete these for now. And let's see if this works. I'm not really sure if it'll work. I think it might work, but sometimes I don't have the best ideas. So I'll just start by making another oval. And let's say that is good. Awesome. Then I'll make the line down the middle because I only want to revolve half of it. Cool. And my sketch is done. Press the check mark. I will use the revolve tool to only revolve one half. Select the revolve axis, and this looks more like an egg. I'd say this is kind of better. Yeah. So that's one way you can do this. Yeah, no worries. Okay, so I'll stop sharing my screen for now and look on what's next. So for the revolve tool, I guess there are several ways to use it, like I said before, and today we're using it to kind of help us make a marker. Before I get into the marker example, I actually want to go over assemblies again and how you can use that to also help you make your marker. So I'll share my screen. Nice background cruise. I think I'm lagging a lot. Give me a quick minute. I'm going to change my Wi-Fi connection. Hopefully it'll be better. I'll put that in the chat. Done. Hopefully that is better, but again, let me know if I'm like lagging a lot. So I guess I said in the meantime, you can try looking at the Revolve tool. It has a lot of different uses. For now, I guess we can keep looking into assemblies. So I'm going to share my screen again. And kind of fix that. Oh no, it says Onshape is not connecting. Refresh your browser. Sometimes if you log off of Onshape for a while, it will do that. Alright. Very cool. It seems like it didn't exactly save it. And the sketch is weird. That's fine. So, what I want to look at to introduce assemblies again is the Go Build a arm. So this is an arm that is made of like existing parts. To kind of explain in each of these, so this is a folder on this bottom edge, and here we have the imported parts. So you wouldn't have to CAD all of these because say I want to make a robot, right? But I need some parts. All of those parts already exist, so I don't have to reinvent the wheel in the way that I won't have to make these pieces because they all kind of complicated. But what I can do is use them to help make my arm. So I have all the pieces and I want to put them all together. That's what an assembly is for. I know yesterday we looked at the example of like the little cat computer thing that had two pieces and they were put together in an assembly. That's what this does. So to put things together in an assembly, you have to use something called mates. And this is like our tool panel in the assembly. And this only works when you are in an assembly. If you're not in an assembly, you won't have these tool options and everything. Again, to make this, you go to the plus sign at the bottom and you put create assembly and you have a new assembly. The thing is, it's pretty empty right now and I need all my parts in it. So what you do is use the insert tool. So insert parts and assemblies. And it's showing me everything in my file. I'm going to use this piece and this piece and this piece and this. And that should be good for now. So I can press my check mark and it's pretty good. So I can like move things around. You can drag them around the same way you would in like a part studio. Move this around. And this. So I have this other assembly that has all of the motor parts combined. And you can see that this has a mate feature. So like in our normal part studio, you kind of have a history of everything going on here. And these are all the names of the parts. I probably should name them better for organization's sake, but these were just imported this way. So I can go back to my assembly and let's say I want to get this piece. It's supposed to be in here, but it isn't right now, right? So considering that this piece needs to spin, I'm going to use a special type of mate. It's called a revolute mate. So I'm going to choose that, and you can see like when you're making a mate, it'll kind of have like all the options where it can be represented with this like small circle. So I'm gonna choose, it's also really finicky. I'm gonna choose the inside there. And then I'm going to choose the inside of this. It's kind of really close, so I'm going to try again to see if I can get it better. There we go. I want it to be kind of on this face, not really on the inside. And then I want this one to be on the face too. I think I deleted my other one. Let me try that again. Okay, let me just start over. So yeah, sometimes it can be kind of hard because it's so detailed. It wants to put like a mate everywhere. There. And there. Awesome. So now it's in, right? That's where it should be. Everything looks good. So I can press the check mark. And now all the pieces for this motor are assembled. So the reason it's like this is because, like I said, we're using something that can revolve. Once you get into being able to use this, you can actually animate it. So say you want to make a model of like, oh, I want the arm to move. You can animate it by putting like loop and it starts spinning. That's pretty cool, right? And this way you can sort of model things, model like motion and kind of like if you're making a robot, give an idea of how it can move. So there are several different types of mates. This is, of course, like the one that revolves this way, which looks really cool. The other types, and the ones that we'll be using today, I'm going to stop this animation for now, X that out, are fastener mates. So I want to get this like frame to go on like my part, right? So kind of having to think about how I'm going to orient everything to work together. Oops. So this piece, I'm going to turn it 90 degrees using like the arrows when you click on a piece. And then I'm going to use a fasten mate. And this is just supposed to limit the range of motion so that it won't like move, meaning like I would screw these together. So I want the mate to be right here and right there. So you can see it's kind of put them together, but it seems to be pretty confused about how I want it to be. So like that didn't really work out right. Sometimes when you're doing like mates like this, you kind of have to experiment to see how it'll actually align. And this isn't really what we want, so let's try again. We're going to make a fasten mate. Make sure it's on the right part. Right there. And also the other part I want it is right there. Awesome. So now it's fastened. And you can tell because like the holes are lining up. That's how I would do it in real life when I would put like a screw through it. So looks good. I would press a check mark. And then I also want to like screw this part onto this. So I would do the same thing using the fasten. So that's kind of an introduction on how you can use mates in your assemblies. Alright, now that we've gone to introducing that, I'll kind of give you an idea of what it's going to take to CAD a marker or pen. I think I'll start by showing you all an example. So what I did for this is I made a marker in like the marker body in one part studio and then the cap in another. So it looks like this. After that, I used an assembly to use a mate and fasten them together. So this is supposed to be a practice on using mates and the revolve tool as well. Although you could probably CAD this without using the specific tools, those are kind of the requirements for today's challenge. So before asking you all to do this, I'm going to try to walk through an example. So if you'd like to, you can follow along right now, or you can just like take notes and figure out how you want to make your marker. So starting with the marker body, I'm going to like first click through what this marker is, and then I'll actually make one. For now, I actually really want to change the color. It's like calling to me, I need to change the color. So let's change the color to a nice marker color. Say like a bright neon blue highlighter color. That's cool. Right. So how this was made is we started with a sketch. So this is using the revolve tool again. If you want to make a cylinder, you have to revolve like a rectangle, right? You can imagine like this piece of card. It's probably not working very well because of my green screen. Yeah, but like this piece of card, like revolving, would make a cylinder. So that's kind of what is happening here. I set the dimensions to make sure it was fully defined. I set a line down the middle because I only want to use half. Oh, Cruz, do you have a question? Go ahead.
So if you were to set it the thing tool to a certain angle, would it stop at that certain angle? Because it's basically like an angle.
Do you mean this line in the middle?
Uh, no, the actual tool.
Oh, the revolve tool. Like if you
Yeah,
could stop halfway. I
yeah,
think
like
you can.
yeah,
Here,
I'm
let
pretty
me
sure.
do. So it says full. I can set it to like one direction and tell it how many degrees. So it looks like a pizza slice right now. Or like if I want it to be like a Pac-Man. It kind of looks like Pac-Man. So yeah, you can set the degrees that you want, and to do that, you go like down, and you, instead of putting full, you have to specify. I think symmetric means like in both angles. Oh yeah, so it does it on both sides. Two directions. You can set different angles for each direction. I think this is the most useful one. But yeah, pretty cool. If you want to make your marker an interesting shape, definitely go for it. You could make it like spiky by doing like some interesting revolve. I don't know. You could really do anything. I think one of like a way to make it like spiky would be to like make triangles and then revolve them on the cylinder. So that's really up to you. Creative freedom is always valued. So this one is just a simple like marker body that just starts with like a simple like cylinder. You use half a rectangle and you revolve it. And you get this pretty basic shape. Then, if you remember, you can make sketches on the face. So there's a new sketch on the face of the marker, or the marker body, and this is to make the tip. So it's defined like these measurements, and then it was extruded. So it just looks like a rectangle. But this doesn't really look like a marker tip, because like if you look at a whiteboard marker, or just I guess some like normal markers, they kind of seem to have like an edge to them. Yeah, exactly. So what I used was the chamfer tool. So this kind of, you can select which edges you want to bring in. And if you remember when we were making the Hollow Knight needle from yesterday, I used this to make it really sharp, the chamfer tool. So you can select and edit the distances. I would say the best way to learn how to use this tool is to kind of mess around with it. I don't want to spoil that much about it, but you can set like different distances, you can make things really sharp. So I used several chamfers to get the angle that I wanted. Also, I used the chamfer on the marker body because it's kind of like angled like that. So it looks like that. I also used it again on the tip because I wanted it to be more like slanted. And I believe it's also on the bottom. Just like a simple thing. So I think you can tell this marker doesn't look very realistic, but adding details like that kind of help bring it more to life. And again, there's creative freedom if you want to use like chamfer or the fillet tool. You can really use any of them. The fillet tool, instead of making things like angled like this, it makes them really curved. So I can give a quick example just so you all can see what that looks like. You select the face you want to do. If for some reason you're doing a fillet or chamfer and it gives you a like red error, that means that you're probably setting this value too high. So it's probably because it's too high. I'm gonna do like 3. And you can see it makes the whole edge kind of curved. If you like that, you can then select the check mark and leave it like that. For the marker, I think the chamfer looks better. So that's pretty much how to make the marker body itself. Does anyone have any questions or is like you're starting to brainstorm about your marker and you're like, I don't know how I would do this? Feel free to ask now. Yeah. Not really. If everyone is good for now, then I'll just do a quick recap about how to change the color, because I think that looks cool when you like want to fix anything. So you do a right click on the parts panel where you have your part, and you just put edit appearance, and that's where you can change the color. You can use a mixer to kind of make it different, get more custom colors, and that's that. So the next thing is the marker cap. So this marker cap, does anyone want to guess how it was made? I mean, you can see what happened here, but we used the revolve tool again. So I think it's kind of hard to visualize how you would make a marker cap using a revolve because it's kind of a really interesting shape. It also has to be hollow on the inside. Exactly, you have it like, it's kind of weird. It's hollow on the inside. Our marker cap won't have as much detail as this marker cap, but if you feel ready for a challenge, I would definitely try to make it look more realistic. For the purposes of the workshop, I think we're good with like something more simple. But yes, very interesting marker cap. So for it to be hollow and also to use the revolve tool, it would kind of have to look something like this. I can just annotate on screen, that makes it easier. Instead of drawing on paper, it would have to look like, so it would be like a line, and then another line, and then another line, and then like another line, and then it needs to be hollow, so I just want to revolve the shell, kind of, and then my axis. So that's how it would look. The important thing about this is that we need to make sure the cap is going to fit on the marker. So if it doesn't fit on the marker, then what was it all for? It will be very tragic. So whenever you do this step, make sure to set your dimensions correctly so that your radius is this value that I kind of just labeled. The same color, it's not very helpful, but you need to dimension this so that it fits on your marker like this length. Then you can use the revolve tool. So I'm just going to clear all these sketches really quickly. And kind of go into the sketch so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to turn, because it's sideways, using these side arrows, you can help orient yourself again. And there you go. So it looks pretty interesting, right? And I set my, like, the tip of the cap needs to match up with the tip of the marker, so it has the marker's radius. Then when I revolve it, it should fit on the marker. If you aren't sure what your marker's radius is, you can go back into your sketch. What you can do is, looking down here, there's like a measure tool, and when you press something, say I want to know the thickness of like this, because I want the marker to go on that part. It says it's 20, so I can have the diameter is 20, so I can have the radius of my cap be 10, or if I want the cap to fit on this piece, here I have to deselect. It says it's 18, half of 18 is 9. So I can make sure my marker cap fits on that, because when I go into my dimensions, I'll set this to 9. And that makes it really helpful. Alright, So when you're done making your cap and your marker body, what you want to do is make a new assembly. So assembly, you know what? I also want to change my marker cap color so it matches. Just going to add appearance. I'll go with some like dark or cool. That kind of makes it hard to see, but I think it looks cool. I also have an assembly. You can see it updated for the color, and it looks like this. So this uses the fasten mate. Kind of see what that looks like there. That's where the mate is. And yeah, so if you all would like to follow along, you can. And I'm going to make this marker from scratch right now. You can follow along or you can just watch, but then later I'd like everyone to have a marker and share it. You can customize it however you'd like. You can make it like spiky, you can make it like oddly shaped if you want to, like those ergonomic markers that kind of look like shaped interestingly. You can definitely try that. There's creative freedom. You want it to be a different color. You want the cap to look differently. Whatever you'd like. For the purposes of the demo, I'll just make it the basic one. Do not influence your different ideas, I guess. But if you have any questions about how to do something special, feel free to ask. So I'm going to start with a new Car Studio, and I'll just name it, just to help with organization, I'll name it, let me keep track of the time, because I don't want to accidentally forget the break. There you go, okay, I'll rename it Marker Body Demo. For the actual marker body, you could use the revolve tool, or you could just extrude a circle, make it really long. Since we're talking about the revolve tool today, I'll go with the revolve tool. So I'm going to make a sketch, choosing the front plane. I'm going to make a rectangle. I'm using the center point rectangle. And I'm going to make my marker have a 20mm diameter, and I want it to be 90mm wide. That's pretty good. Again, if you're like not sure, you can set your own dimensions. So like if you want it to be thicker or taller, feel free to set those. Just make sure that your marker cap fits. So I'm going to put the middle line. Nice. And my sketch is done. Then I'll use the revolve tool. I only need half of it. To select the revolve axis, remember you need to press here, like where it's red. If you press here, it's going to make like a make connector, which is fine, it'll still choose it, but it's not really what you want. And that means like it'll make a make connector. That means when you go into like an assembly and try to put mates, it'll have one there already, which is fine. It won't really get in the way, but the best way is just to like select here. So after I have that, I have a very simple cylinder. I wanted to have a marker tip, right? So I'm going to start by making another sketch, and I'm going to select the face of my cylinder. I'm just going to click here. Face of revolve one. Awesome. I'm pressing the N shortcut, like N on my keyboard, which lets me see normal to the sketch. Then I'm going to use the center point rectangle to make the tip. I want my marker tip to be 8 by 5. That looks good to me. Yeah, that's nice. Alright, so now I have this. I can extrude it. And if you remember yesterday, we looked at the remove extrude, which is not what we want to do because that's not really how a marker looks. Or you could like make a hole in it and then, you know how markers have like an ink thing in them? You could then make that and model it some way if you want to. Like if you're like, oh, doing the tip is really easy, I want to try something different, feel free to do that and you can kind of mess around with that. I'm going to do this simple way just for the sake of the demo, but there is creative freedom here. So I'm going to, that looks like a really long marker tip. I'm just going to go with maybe 8. That looks good. I need to go to the bathroom. Oh yeah, you can go ahead, Cruz. I'm gonna keep going with the demo. If you have questions after, let me know. Okay. Right, so continuing with this, I like this length, so I'm just going to press the check mark. Awesome, rectangular marker tip. Like I said before, I want mine to be a bit more chiseled, so I'm going to use my, is it my favorite tool? I don't know. I feel like I like the fillet tool more, because I feel like curves are kind of more what you see in real life. Maybe it's my second favorite tool, but I really like the hollow tool too. The shell tool is what it's called, but I call it hollow because it makes things hollow. Anyway, kind of sidetracked. I'll use the chamfer. So I want this to be, I just selected the side that I want to be like narrow. Before I do that though, I kind of want both of them to kind of face inward. And I want them not to be that steep. So if we look like facing this way, it says that there are two distances in my chamfer settings. It says distance 1 and distance 2. So I'm going to edit distance 1. And distance 1 is, I can annotate to help show this, is this distance right here. So that's 1 millimeter. Distance 2 is this distance right here, which is 5 millimeters. So you can adjust this however you'd like to kind of get the angle look you're going for. I think this is, you know what, I'd like it to be a lot more, like, kind of like, tilted, but not that steep. So I'm gonna edit these, like, values. I'll just clear all my drawings first. Awesome. So let's say maybe instead of 5, I'll do 1 here, and then 5 here. Yeah, I kind of like that. That looks more like a marker tip to me. Check. Awesome. Then I'll use another chamfer to kind of help with getting this like angle to be better. Because I want it to be like slanted, I'll use the chamfer over here. And I'm going to adjust it a bit. So the first distance is slightly smaller, maybe 3. I think this one should also be 3. And this one should stay 5. I like that for the marker tip. I think that looks pretty good. Say I want like the marker tip to be a specific color, you can do this by pressing the faces. So I want this part and this part, this part and this part, and this part and this part, and kind of hard because you have to select everything. Oh wait, it already submitted it as a new part. You can do that, or you can assign add appearance to 8 faces. And say I want it to be like a highlighter color. I'm gonna like make it slightly trans. Oh, Bennett, do you have a question?
How do I rotate things again?
Like rotate or revolve?
Revolve. Wait, no, rotate.
Do you want to share your screen? Or you could just do a transform. I can show you that quickly. Let me move this panel. So if you see this tool, it says transform. And it's to move, rotate, copy, or scale apart. Does that answer your question, or do you want to share your screen so I could help you specifically?
I knew about the transform and I was trying to find it in my assembly, but it doesn't look like it's a thing in the assembly.
In the assembly, it doesn't have that. So if you're in an assembly, you usually, let me just make a new assembly like this one. You can press apart, right? And it gives you like these arrows. Then you can use like this tool. They're like circles. Can you see them? You select them and drag them, and then you can set a value.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Going back to making my awesome marker. All right. I'm going to adjust it because I want it to look kind of like a highlighter, but I want the body to be black. So I'm going to edit the appearance again. I'm going to go with some bright yellow color. Oh no, it's not working. I have to edit the faces. I'm just going to select them again. Cool, okay, and then I'm going to go edit face appearance. I'm going to go to the mixer to make it very bright. And since it's a highlighter, I kind of want it to be like see-through. Get like neon. There. So you can edit the part transparency with this slider. I think that looks cool. Awesome. Okay, this highlighter is interesting, I guess. I'll change the body color of the highlighter to be some dark color so it contrasts with my highlighter itself. I'll go with this gray. Cool. Now I'm going to use another chamfer to kind of make my marker body look cooler, because right now it just looks very, like, cylindrical, which isn't really what a marker body looks like. Going to chamfer, that's a little bit too steep, so I'm putting maybe 2 and 3. I think that looks better. And I'm also going to do a chamfer on the bottom. Chamfer, that's a little bit too much. If your marker was like that, it would make it really hard to stand. So I'll do 2 and 2. There's also different settings. You don't have to do, say like I know I want them to be the same distances, I'll just put 2 once, so that makes it easier. I will press OK, and now I have my finished marker body. Pretty cool, pretty simple. The next thing I'm going to do is make the cap. So like I said before, the cap is kind of interesting to think about because it looks pretty weird. It's kind of like, how would you make something like that shape using the revolve tool? I'm going to make a new part studio first. I'm just going to call it marker cap demo, just in the sake of naming things well. Awesome. And I'm going to sketch on the front plane. This just makes it easier for me later, because when I want to revolve it, I want it to be facing this way, not along this plane, if that makes sense. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of start sketching. To do this, I'm using the line tool. So I know I want my marker to have like a tip like this. So maybe like it'll be 3 millimeters, and then it'll go down for like 2.5, and then it'll go out for like, oh, it didn't connect them, 8 millimeters, and then it'll go back in. The next thing I also need to worry about is how thick I want my marker walls to be. Bennett, you have a question?
I was just gonna say I finished my marker.
Oh, really? That's great. That was pretty fast. If you're done, that sounds really good. If you want to take a look at ways to make your marker more realistic, I think that's a good place to start. Or, like, I'm sure you included some creative aspect. It's really whatever you'd like. In the meantime, I guess if everyone else is working on their marker at the same time and you also finish, let me know in the chat. And that way, like, we can start getting people to share theirs. I'm gonna keep walking through this example if you need like some guidance with how to make each part, but yeah, I would say maybe make it more realistic, or you can also try like doing it with different tools. For example, for the marker cap, you don't actually need to use the revolve, you don't actually have to make the walls like this. You could use the shell tool later. So there are a lot of different ways to do it. I'd say trying to get to those and messing around with all the tools will definitely help you. That was a really long ramble. Anyway, I'm just gonna keep going with mine. If everyone else is starting to finish, feel free to put it in the chat too, so we know when everyone's ready to share. I'm going to check the time too. Okay. So I'm just going to make like this, and that, and close it up. Awesome. So I have an interesting cap. The next thing I need to do is make sure everything is the right size. So I have like my marker body. I need to check how big this is because I don't know if I'm making my cap the right size. So this has a diameter of 16 millimeters. So my cap has to have a radius of 8 millimeters. So then I'm going to making my cap. I'm going to use my dimension tool. And the first thing I'm going to dimension is this. Set it to 8. Awesome. I also want to set the width of the cap to like 1.5 millimeters. Also here, 1.5, and here, 1.5, and then here as well, 1.5. Cool. Now I'll start setting measurements from everything else to make sure everything is fully defined. So here, pull from the origin. It's always important. Oh no. Awesome. So everything is dimensioned. If you're like, oh, I set measurements for everything and it's still blue, it's likely because you have to tell it how far it needs to be from the origin. Alright, I'm feeling pretty satisfied with this marker cap, so I'm going to press, oh wait, last thing. I have to make a line down the middle to be able to revolve it, so I'm just gonna, that looks pretty good. And revolve. Select the revolve axis. Nice, I have a simple marker cap. Check. I'm gonna change the color to match my very cool marker body. Edit appearance. I'll do it this color. That's good. Alright, so now I have a marker body, marker cap, cool highlighter colors. Awesome. I'm going to make a new assembly. So create assembly. It's empty again. Where are my parts? Good question. They are here. So you have to use the insert parts tool. I can see everything in my document, including my part studios. So I can just scroll down, and I know mine's this one and this one. I'm just going to click somewhere so it places them down and press check. Seems like it put my cap there, so I'm just going to move it out. And there you go. I'm going to use a fastener mate on the face of my marker right there, the marker cap, and then right here. And there you go, it's fastened. I'm gonna press the X right here because it's asking me to make like another fastener. I don't want to do that. I already have the one that's good. And that's it. So that's how you make a simple marker. Does anyone have any questions? Anything that you need me to go over again? Cruz, go ahead.
I'll just share my screen to show you
Sure.
because like when I'm trying to extrude it, like it won't, like I can't actually click on it. The actual sketch. Like I'm doing a
That's
move.
interesting. Could I request screen control of your screen? Like the remote control?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing I'm gonna do is like hide the part. Try pressing it now. Like this.
Oh, okay.
And then add instead of remove or new.
I wanna like I wanna have it removed so that I can actually drill in it And
Oh,
then, yeah, so then I'm able to put the marker in there.
right.
So yeah.
You can open like this to see how it looks and
Okay.
move around. It seems like you need it to go all the way to the top though, right? So you can
Yeah.
pull this arrow. There you go.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, so if you have that issue, I'd probably recommend like hiding the part to make it easier to like select the other one. I will give
Mhm.
up remote control and you can stop screen sharing if you'd like, or if you have any other questions. All right, so let's see. Marker is done. There's about 30 minutes left before the break. You all can use that time to work on your marker. Um, and I guess in the meantime, let's see. 30 minutes to work on the marker. Does that sound good with everyone? Do you guys think you'll be able to finish? Cruz, do you think 30 minutes is good? Yeah? Okay, so we'll have those 30 minutes and then we'll go on break. After break, I'd like everyone to share their marker and yeah, we'll start working on the robotic arm after that. Sound good with everyone? Alright, so you can go off camera if you'd like, or whichever way is easier to work. I'll be here the whole time. If you have questions, need a demo again, let me know. Sorry, am I lagging? Bennett, you have a question?
I was gonna say, the only thing I was gonna do to fix my marker is switch the material, but when I switch it to like birch or wood, it doesn't stop shining. Is that normal?
Could you share your screen?
Sure, sure. Mhm. Share. So I have the marker body and the marker cap.
Mhm.
And I set these both to birch. If I were to go like redwood,
Oh,
they
you mean
still
it
shine.
doesn't change? Yeah.
Hmm.
So, like when you do that in Onshape, it's just to change the like properties. So when you like it tells you like the mass for the piece you're making and how much supplies you would need for the material you select, but it doesn't actually change the appearance. Like, well, I'm lagging again. No. Sorry, I'll type in the chat, okay?
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Thank you.
Yes. Cruz, you have another question? Go ahead.
So I think if you change the actual color of it, I'm pretty sure it'll actually change the shine.
Yeah, the color will probably help. You can also change the like transparency of it if you want it to look
Mhm.
different. Yep. Also, your marker looks great, Bennett. That looks awesome. I like how you did the cap. Cruz, do you have another question? Go ahead.
Okay, so when I made a new part
Mhm.
thing, and I couldn't actually move the thing. Like it was like this when I did it. So like I
Right.
don't know what's wrong.
Are you trying to make an
Oh,
assembly?
okay. Yeah, now it's working.
Oh, it
Oh,
was
I
just
made a
lagging?
part studio. Yeah, I think it might
Right.
have been locking because I couldn't like drag it or anything. It was like
Yeah,
in
that
that
happens with
position.
Onshape since it's online. Sometimes it'll like glitch and lag out.
Hmm.
All right, cool. I'm glad it's working for you now.
Hmm.
I will be right back. I need to grab some water. In the meantime, if you do have questions, you can write them in the chat. And yeah, I'll be right back. Sorry, everyone. Hello, everyone. I am back and I have water to stay hydrated. So yeah, I'm here if you have any questions. Okay, there are about 15 more minutes to make your marker. If you're already done and you're satisfied, I would say you can go on like an early break, and then we'll be back at 2:45 to share our markers. In the meantime, like in these 15 minutes, if you're still working on it and if you have any questions, again, feel free to let me know. Sorry, Chris, I didn't see you. You can ask your question.
So my computer's about to die, so if I like go out of the meeting, it's because my computer's dead, so I'm probably gonna have to wait for it to charge and then join back.
All right,
So
that's fine.
yeah.
We're also going on break in like 10 minutes, so it's good.
Okay.
Okay, since it seems like everyone is good, I'll just start the break 5 minutes early. So I'm gonna go off camera and everyone should be back by 2:45. Alright everyone, have a good break, take some time off of Unshake, drink some water, and I'll see you then. Cruz, do you have a question? Oh, go ahead.
Um, so how do I put the parts together in the assembly line? Because when I try to, like, when I do assembly number one, I'm not able to actually grab any items.
Do you want to share your screen?
Yeah. So like,
Oh,
I don't
right.
know. Wow.
So I'm gonna annotate where it says insert, press that.
Oh,
And then it should show all of your parts in your document. So you can just click them. There you go.
okay.
Then you can press them to move them around, like drag them. Yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, no problem. Alright, so break time is almost over. I think we'll wait probably like 4 more minutes just to make sure everyone's back and ready to go. After that, we'll start with like people sharing their markers. If you're not done, that's fine. You can share your progress and like what your ideas were. If you are done, that's also good. Okay, so hopefully everyone is getting back. As people start maybe funneling in, I'm going to share my marker. So this is my marker. I actually used a different type of mate, which I will share right now. It's called a slider mate, and it's kind of what it implies. It can slide on like an axis. So I'll show you, like, using this mate lets me animate it, so it looks like my marker is opening, which I think is pretty cool. It's like you put the lid off and you put it back on. So that's pretty much it. To use this type of mate and animate it, if you are interested in doing that, it would be the same as using the fasten mate. But when you use the fasten mate, it does give you the option to animate. And to get that option, what you have to do is right click where it says mate features, you choose the mate, and then there's an option right here, it says animate. So you press that, and then you can make things move however you'd like. Yep, I think it looks cool because it looks like the lid is actually working, and you can kind of get an idea of how it look. This also makes it go all the way up to like 25 millimeters, so you don't have to put it that much if you only want to open a bit, but that's just an interesting way to do it. Alright, so I will stop sharing. Cruz or Bennett, do you want to go next? Anyone really is fine. Bennett, do you want to go? I mean, we kind of already saw yours, but you can share the final product.
All right, so let me get it here. Share. So this is my marker. Whoop. And here's the lid. There's the actual marker. I accidentally selected it, so
It looks pretty cool. Do you have a mate or did you delete it on accident?
I accidentally hit the undo button. Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah. That looks pretty cool. Unfortunately, you can't animate the fastener mate, but you can use a different one to try and animate it. But yeah, it looks pretty good.
Marker cap and the
Very
marker
cool.
body.
Here's a question. Are your sketches defined?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good. Awesome. All right. Very cool. Great job with that. Cruz, do you want to go next? Cool.
Okay, so I haven't completed all of it, but I'm gonna show the cap and the body.
Mhm.
So here's the body, but this is what it would look like if it was actually like complete.
Got it. Yeah.
This is the hole that the actual like marker goes into, and then I'm gonna add like little thing that you can push in like to animate it and then push. So I'm gonna have it animate to bring this up and then actually, like an actual pen,
Oh,
click.
yeah. Like a
Yeah,
pen highlighter, right?
yeah.
That sounds really cool. I want to see that when you do that. Very cool.
Mhm.
Tyler, do you want to share? If not, that's fine. Maybe the other person, I know you all introduced yourself, but I kind of don't know if I'm saying your name right still. Ryan? No? Okay, that's good. I guess we'll get started on the next assignment. I know Cruz mentioned that you kind of wanted to keep working on your marker. You can, let's see. I think I'd like to show you how to like import stuff, but if you decide instead of doing the arm, you'd rather work on your marker, that's fine. Bennett, I know you mentioned you're already done with your marker and you feel satisfied, so you can work on the arm. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is share my screen and we can stop this. So there's like files that you can get and like I said before, if you have parts and you already know where they are, someone already made them, you don't want to remake them, you just want to kind of model what it is, uh, you can you can use existing files. So I'm going to put this in the chat, and these are all the files to all of the assets that you need to build the arm. So you can download those. If you aren't able to like download stuff on your computer for whatever reason, you can just like watch if you can. I'd recommend following along because then again, that is the best way to kind of learn how to do something. So let's say I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm ready to make an arm. Ooh, I think my on shape is lagging. We'll see. So you go down to this plus sign, and then there's a symbol that says import. You can use this symbol to import like things. It's actually a tool. So I have like all of this, and I can select them. And it's like import into this document or combine to, I'm gonna move this. So I'm just going to import to this document. And so it's uploading all of these to Onshape. It's going to take a bit because they're quite a bit of files. It seems like it is uploading. Alright, so this one says translation complete. So it says it was translated successfully. So like I pressed it and you can see what piece it is and everything. Awesome, we have pieces. That's good to hear, good to know, right? And now, I kind of went over this earlier when we were looking at assemblies. The whole point of this like robot arm project is to get you practice with working in like and with an assembly. So you can see like all of these were added. They kind of take a bit to load. You can also change the color to make it easier to work with them and everything. So if I look at like one of the examples I have, the colors here are all changed to make it easier to see. And this is actually a part that I made just to like go on here. So like it goes on this and I just made it like that. Let's see if I use this. See, so like it moves like an arm. And that's good for modeling stuff and everything. So I guess if you are following along, now would be a good time to import all of your like things. So if you are able to import them, let me know. I can resend it in the chat if you just got here. Let me get the link again to make sure it's right. And yeah. So I'd give you probably like, what time is it? Maybe 5-10 minutes to get those uploaded. How do you import it? Yes, I will show you that. So once you download everything, you go down here to the corner. It says import, and you can select all of them. So I want this one. You can press the check mark, check, check, check. I want all of those, and then I just press open. You have it all uploaded. Awesome, Bennett. Let me know when you're done, Cruz. And if everyone else is also following along, let me know if you're able to import the parts. I'm actually gonna make a new document really quick because I feel like it would be easier to like show some stuff. And I'll just call it on. I'll import everything again. And yeah, after mine finish, we can get started. It's also really convenient because usually it'll make a folder in your project that says CAD imports. So I can see like everything, like the files. And then we have some here. Okay, so I'm going to start in my assembly. And like we did before for our marker, you want to use the insert tool. And I'm going to insert everything. Just click anywhere and press the check mark. Alright, so I have a motor with this like small tiny screw and also this piece that goes on the small screw. The first thing I'm going to do is use a fastener. So I think last time I put it here, but this might be a better face to put it on. So it just, this part actually sticks out more. If that makes sense. I think it'll make more sense once I show it. So I'm going to use the fasten mate and I'm going to press there. And then I'm going to press right here. Awesome. So it looks really good. Again, it kind of is difficult to get it sometimes. It can be really finicky. So I recommend like zooming in and moving your stuff around to be able to get your mates to work. The next thing I'm going to do is use a revolute mate. So that one is this one. It has like an arrow going around it. This is because I want this part to be able to spin. So I'm going to, I could like mate the gears to each other, but that isn't very like, that would kind of make it kind of complicated. So instead, I'm going to, if I can get it, this other piece is getting in the way. For now, I'm just going to hide it so it doesn't get in the way. I can figure out which piece it is. It should be this one. There you go. So I'm going to put that mate here. And it should go with the top of this one. So it looks like my piece is upside down because this part is supposed to be on the other side. So I can rotate or flip. So now it's inside of it. And that's how it's supposed to be. That looks pretty good. I'm going to select the check mark. So to make sure it works, I don't want another revolute. I'm going to press X. I'm going to start by just animating it to make sure the motion is what I want. Yeah, so it looks like it's spinning. That's what I want. It looks like a motor that works. Awesome. I'm going to pause that. I'm going to get my other like files to show. This one. Oh wait, I think I'm missing a piece. And you all may be missing one as well. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I will export those right now and send them again. Sorry everyone, that's my bad, but we can get them relatively quickly. The pieces that we're missing are actually the pieces that combine, like, that are used to combine the motor to this rod. And then also, I think I'll export the arm part so you can kind of see that motion and get an idea for how it's supposed to look. So I opened the wrong file. And this might lag for a bit because it's a really big file. Alright, to make sure I get the right one, I need this. Yeah. After you import, how do you get it into the studio? Oh yeah, I can show you that with this piece. Chris, what is your question?
Can I share my screen? Because like I don't know how to do this. It's like,
The mates?
yeah, like I don't know because like I'll show my here, I'll show my screen. It's easier to show than explain.
Okay, after you share, then I'll try to show how to import them and like get them
Okay.
into the assembly. So let me stop sharing. Go ahead.
Okay, so like when I try to put this in here,
Mhm.
like it just moves along with it.
Oh, it's because you've selected both of them. You can
Yeah.
tell because the side panel.
Oh, right.
And also, once you do a mate, it'll put them together. So like, you don't technically have to move it to it because when you do a mate, it'll move it to it, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
so I'm gonna do a mate.
Kind of want to look at the bottom and probably zoom in. Like pressing that circle that is, let me annotate, like this one.
Right here. Oh, right here.
Yeah, I think there's good.
Right
Yeah,
here.
click, and then go to your motor. It's actually a servo motor, but and you want to zoom in and click that circle. Yeah, not that one, the other one. That one. You might
Right
want to
here.
zoom in. Yeah, right there. Let's see. Kind of move around to make sure it's what you like. Yeah, it looks pretty good. There you go.
There. And then I think I only got one of these.
Hmm. I don't think you need those. Well, you can use them to like actually put everything together, but for the purposes of modeling, putting in the screws and stuff takes really long. So when we like model our robot in CAD, we don't model screws because they take forever. So I think I might have accidentally put those files instead of the two parts that we actually did need.
Oh, okay.
Where does the gray piece go? They're all gray in his screen. At least, right? Are they?
Yeah, I'm gonna change that right now.
Okay, I'm going to the fence thing. The one with a bunch of holes? Yes. Sure, I can share my screen really quickly. So this is what it's supposed to look like, if that helps. I will also get the parts and show how to put them in the assembly. Sorry for delaying your question. So going back here, I did that and I put all, so I'm missing this part. Okay, and the other part that I want to give you all is this one, part one. I'm going to have to find it. And this is a bit unorganized because I imported everything again. It's this piece, got it, okay. So just a quick like lesson, if you ever want to export something, you can look at under the part studio, like, and then on where it has a bunch of tabs, you just right click it and there's an option to export it. I can do like, you can do any format. STL is usually a standard. Download it, and I will add it to this folder if you want to get it. It's called ARM, and you can download that again. I'm going to import it to mine. So let me see what the question was. After you import, how do you get it into the studio? So let's do it with this example. ARM STL open. I'm just going to press OK. So it's uploading, and it puts it into a studio automatically. So you can see this. It's kind of weird, but it's because it's like an STL, it saves that. It didn't open it by itself for you. If it didn't do that, that's fine, because you don't really need it in a part studio by itself. You only need it in the assembly. So I'm going to go back to my assembly. And the way to get parts that you have is using insert. Are you able to see this? And I put this in. And you like select what you want, and then you just click out and press the check mark. It doesn't show up either. That's interesting. In the insert tab. Do you want to try sharing your screen then? I'm not sure what might be the problem. Yeah, okay, I'll stop sharing.
Okay, here. So, one sec.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, so when I imported it, this showed up.
Right. Oh, it's because you downloaded it as a zip file.
Oh,
So I
so
meant for
should
you
I?
to download them or like unzip the file and then upload them individually.
Okay.
Awesome. Hopefully that should fix the issue. If it's still a problem, please let me know. All right. Let's see. So going back to my lovely arm, I'm going to, what should I do? Oh yeah, I'm going to attach this piece to this piece. And I'm going to delete the screw and the washer. So you don't really need it. Alright, so I want to attach, I'm going to use the fasten mate, and I'm going to put it like, it's kind of hard with an STL file. I should have downloaded it as another type. Bennett, you finished. That's very cool. So I guess if you're done, and you finish your marker too, there is another project you could try to do. And this was for the people who had 3 days, but if you want to try something else, you could try the snow globe project. So the snow globe project is basically like this project where you kind of combine everything we've done, and I can show you. So this is the one that the instructors made. And so it's like a globe. This uses like a combination of a bunch of things. There's also the text tool, which we haven't really looked at, and this dome, which uses like the revolve tool. If you can imagine how you make a sphere, then you can kind of imagine how you would make a semicircle and also make it like transparent and look cool, I guess. And then for this one, we also use like animate because animating is cool. So it like loops, so it looks like the world is spinning. Yay, very cool. So you can work on a project like this if you finish the arm. And you want something to do in the meantime. Meanwhile, I will continue to like construct on the arm. And then once everyone is done, it would be cool if you could share the arms, like we share the markers. I'm going to stop this for now. But yeah, that's something you could work on. I really cannot get the name on here correctly. It's just kind of taking a while. And I think it's because of the STL file. So I'm going to export this piece again, but instead of an STL, I'm going to make it a step file. And I will put this in the same folder. I'm going to delete this one because it's not really working with the mate for whatever reason. And I'm just going to put the new one. So again, how we import stuff is using insert, like the plus sign at the bottom, import. I'm going to choose a step file. Hopefully that works better. Import to this document. Alright, it was uploaded. Awesome. So now I'm going to insert it here. Oh, this is the old arm. My bad. I'm gonna press X. Seems like the other one is loading. There you go. And I'm just gonna delete this one. Alright. There you go. Finally everything is good. Alright. Hopefully now I'll be able to use the mate. So I'm going to use a fasten mate. And I'm going to put that there. And then this here. Going to flip it so it's not like intersecting, and I'm going to press check. Awesome. So just to make sure everything works, I'm just going to animate it to make sure it like spins like the arm is supposed to. Cool. The next thing I'm going to do is attach it to this piece, the motor. So this is again using a fasten mate because I don't want it to move. If you did want it to move, you could use like something like the Revolute mate. This is what I use the slider mate for the lid on my marker. So it's gonna go here. And you only have to do it for one, because doing it for four is kind of like a lot. There we go. It looks weird, so I can press these arrows to kind of help orient what's supposed to be that. I'm trying to tell if that looks right, but it does not. And I think that is it. Bennett, do you have a question?
So I had my assembly in the CAD imports file, and as soon as I clicked off of it for a second, when I go back to it, it says assembly.step file, update or download.
Oh, if it's in CAD imports, this is where it keeps all of the like files that you like imported. So you're saying you made your assembly in this folder,
Mm-hmm.
and it used to work, but it doesn't anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I think if that happens, let me just like make a theoretical situation. You might be able to move it to the parent folder and then open it. So let
Okay.
me show. And if that doesn't work, I think you might have to remake it.
All right.
Alright, so that's done. And the last thing I'm going to do is make one of these like holes to one of the pieces like here. So using this fasten mate and maybe this one. It's kind of moved, so you can use the arrows to fix it and rotate it. I want it to be like that. I want it to be on the edge. Also, you notice that when it's doing the preview, it doesn't keep the other mates, but as soon as you press the check mark, it'll kind of orient everything to work. Bennett, your question?
Sorry, I forgot to lower my hand.
Oh yeah, no worries, that's fine. I get it. I totally have been there. That actually happens to me a lot. Alright, and then I don't want another fuss in, so I'm just gonna close it. So now I guess my arm is completely done. I can test to see if it works by animating the revolute mate, and it moves pretty cool. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Say you wanted to like limit the range of motion, like it only moves 90 degrees, then you could like make it do that. Yep, and that's pretty much it. So, Bennett, I know you said you were done with your arm. Were you able to get it back? No? Okay, that's fine. For now, I'm going to stop sharing. Does anyone have any questions about like importing anything that may be going wrong? Did your like imports work and stuff now? Like the insert and everything? Maybe. That's fine. I guess we can just wait till everyone shares at the end. And yeah. So I think this might take a while because getting the mates is difficult. That's We have 40 minutes left. I'd say this might take 30 minutes. So I'll give you all 30 minutes to work on it. At the end, I have a 10-minute survey that I like you all to fill out, just for the whole course in general and the boot camp. And that should be everything for today, since it is the last day. Yeah. So 30 minutes to do it. Once you're done, if you'd like to type in the chat, yeah, you can, if you do finish, you can like maybe try using other types of mates to see different ways you can animate it, or you can work on a snow globe project, but that might take longer. For the other group, that was about like a whole day project. So like they kind of spent the whole day curating their snow globe. It's just an idea if you do have extra time on your hands. Or I can just send you the survey and you can fill that up. So yeah, just type in the chat when you're done and I'll let you guys work for now. Yeah, Cruz, what's up?
Just to let you know, I'm actually on my phone because my computer died, and well, I'm not on Zoom anymore because Zoom actually drains this computer's battery because it's pretty old.
Oh, that's fine. Are you able to still work on the arm then?
Yeah, I'm able to still work on the arm.
Alright, once you finish, just let me know in the chat, and in 30 minutes, I'm hoping everyone will be able to share their finished arm.
Okay,
Got it. Alright, thanks for letting me know.
you're welcome.
Also, Cruz, I know you wanted to work on your marker, so if you'd like to do that instead, you can. but like I just wanted you to have some practice using the assemblies and the mates. So it's up to you. Whatever you work on, you can just share it at the end. So that's fine.
How did you do the arm again?
How did I do the arm? Like to get it to mate to the other part?
Yep.
Sure, I can share my screen. So let's see. All right, I'm going to remove the mate. Trying to delete it. Oh, it's because it's open. Sorry. There you go. So now it isn't like mated at all. Oops. The first thing, these are mated together though, so it's kind of being. I'll take this apart.
Never mind. I think I saw how you did it. Thank you. Also, I'm done.
Now I'm going to mate this with a fascinate like this and like this. Looks good. And it's done. Right? So everyone has about 10 more minutes to finish. If you aren't able to finish, that's fine. You can just share what you have so far. All right, we have about 5 more minutes. Bennett, do you want to start by showing like how your arm looks? Awesome. Go ahead.
Sure. So here's my arm,
Very cool.
and if we go to this, animate, there we go.
Yo, that looks awesome. Great job. Very cool. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Cruz, do you want to share your progress? Not yet.
Not yet. I'm almost done.
Are you working on the arm or the marker?
The arm.
Very cool. Okay. Does anyone else want to share their progress? Maybe Tyler, maybe Adit. Adit? I know you introduced yourself. I'm very sorry I can't remember how to say your name. Anyone else? If not, that's fine. I'm going to send a link in the chat, and it's a survey. I would really appreciate it if you all could fill it out. 1 minute. There you go. So it should take about 10 minutes to complete, which is why I wanted to save like the last 10 minutes to fill it out. But once you're done with it and you don't have any more questions, you feel satisfied, you're free to head out. This is the last day of the camp. Thank you all so much for participating. And yeah,
Bye.
bye.
Well, I'm gonna fill out the survey and I'm gonna leave.
Yeah, that works.
What happens if I'm homeschooled? And what do I put for the school, current school?
You can put that.
All right.
Like you can just put your homeschool. Tyler, I saw your message. I'm going to chat if that's fine with you. Yeah.
All right, I filled out the survey.
All right, thank you so much, and bye.
Thank
Have a
you.
good rest of your summer.
Bye-bye.
Yes. Okay, Tyler. Thanks for joining again. You don't really have to join. I mean, we're pretty much done unless you wanted to share anything that you've made. As long as you fill out the form. Let me see. Yeah, that's the link. You don't have to fill it on the Zoom, like if your Wi-Fi is bad, but if you'd like to, you can just head out and fill it out whenever you have time. Yeah, thank you so much
Okay.
for coming. Yeah, go ahead,
I
sorry.
filled out the form.
All right, bye. Thank you.
Bye. See you.